Welcome to yet another Motoroids review, guys. Today we have the much awaited, much anticipated Maruti Suzuki Grand Vitara with us. Now, the Toyota Urban Cruiser Highrider has already been reviewed by us in great detail. And let me start by saying that this car is extremely similar to that car. Now, this one here is the 1.5 liter K series engine. This is not the strong hybrid, and I'm going to limit this review about the changes and how this specific engine drives on this car. If you want to watch the totally in-depth review, the way we are known to do reviews, covering every single detail, you need to go to the strong hybrid review of this car. In this specific review, I'm going to talk about all the differences that this car has over the strong hybrid. Also, how the engine feels, how the suspension feels, how the steering feels, what is the fuel efficiency, and maybe which variant you should be going with. So let's start off with the styling, and in my personal opinion, this car looks a little better than the Urban Cruiser Highrider, primarily because of the fact that I like the DRL treatment better and I like the grille here a little better. On the Highrider, you have a very large black plaque which is a dust magnet, and on this specific car, the grille makes it look a little bit more premium with the chrome treatment. Also, I find it a little bit more muscular, but primarily I like the DRL treatment. The headlight is more or less the same. On this specific version, you have the headlight covered in black, but on the strong version, you will have chrome treatment here. I love the grille here, and while on the Highrider you have a bigger lower grille, you have a smaller lower grille here, and the proportions to my eyes are a little bit better on the Grand Vitara as compared to the Urban Cruiser. Now, a few things that I would like to point out here is that you don't have any front parking sensors here, so that's a missing feature here, just like the Highrider. But overall, this car looks quite smart to me. Now, about proportions, I really think that this car could have been a little bit more squatter. It could have looked a little bit wider. It looks a little bit longer or taller to me than ideal, but it does look nice and premium. I really think that a lot of people are going to love this car for the way its face look draped in that chrome. In terms of its dimensions, this car is longer than its primary rivals, that's the Creta and the Seltos, and the Highrider is actually 20 mm longer than this car, but this car is still quite long as compared to the Creta and the Seltos. It's also 10 mm higher than the Urban Cruiser Highrider. In terms of width, only the Seltos is very marginally wider by 5 mm, and in terms of its wheelbase also, it's shorter by the Creta Seltos Duo by only 10 mm. So in terms of dimensions, it's a big car, it's a long car, and it does have street presence. It has 17-inch wheels, 215 section Apollo Aptera tires, which can do a wee bit of soft roading as well. You have these LED blinkers. Then you have a 200 mm of ground clearance. Now, a big differentiator here is these black roof rails over the strong hybrid, which has chrome roof rail, shark fin antenna is there. As opposed to the Highrider, you also have this little treatment here, which makes it stand apart. Coming towards the rear, I really think Maruti Suzuki have done a better job than Toyota, and I really love this 3-point LED tail lamp treatment. It looks really nice to my eyes. I also like this black treatment on which the Suzuki logo sits, and of course the pièce de résistance is this connecting LED strip, which really makes it look a lot better than the Toyota Urban Cruiser Highrider in my personal opinion. Of course, it gets a 360-degree camera, which is fantastic. The skid plate is also a lighter shade as compared to the Highrider, and overall this car to me personally is slightly better looking than its platform sharing product from Toyota. A very nice looking car, although you don't have any fog lamps at the rear, no fog lamps up front, so that again is a bit of an omission. While this entire tail lamp cluster is LED, here you have bulbs. And in terms of styling elements, as I mentioned, the chrome surrounding the headlight up front and the roof rails are the primary differentiators between this variant and the more premium, more expensive strong hybrid variant. Now, if you open the boot area here is 355 liters, which isn't class leading. If you look at the Koreans, the boot area there is about 433 liters, but if you look at the size of it, it seems like it's enough to take a family of 4 for a short to not so long holiday. It can easily swallow 2 big suitcases and some small bags as well, so that should not be a problem at all. You also have a 12-volt power socket and illumination unit as well. Plus you have these spaces on the side which can be used to store smaller items. The seats are also 60-40 split, so it should not be a problem for you if not all 4 or 5 of you are traveling together. 3 of you can drop down one of the seats and increase the luggage area. Let's get inside and see what are the changes and what are the features which are missing as compared to the strong hybrid version. Now, a big difference on the interior is that the color scheme on this variant, that is the K series variant, is done in black and Bordeaux, which is wine red color. So black and leatherette Bordeaux, which is nice looking to my eyes. I quite like it. It's dark, but it does look nice and premium to me. If you're going with the strong hybrid variant, there you will get an all black treatment, which is slightly sportier to look at. The accents there will be of champagne, so you'll have champagne accents instead of this Bordeaux or wine red, or in simple language, maroon upholstery and dashboard. The upholstery here, as you can also see, is black and Bordeaux, and you also have this contrasting stitching here. Another big change is that on the strong hybrid version, you'll have a bigger 7-inch all digital screen versus this 4-inch color TFT here. This is a digital and analog instrument console, but on the strong hybrid, you'll have an all digital screen. A couple of advantages that this car has is that it comes with an all-wheel drive system, and on the all-wheel drive system you will also have driving modes to select from, but on the two-wheel drive version you won't have any driving modes, and those driving modes, like the EV mode and the eco mode and the power mode, are available only on the strong hybrid version. Those are not available on the two-wheel drive version of this car. Another small but significant difference is that you won't get wireless charging on any variants of this car. Another difference is that you will get ambient lighting only on door spots here, but on the strong variant you will get ambient lighting on door spots as well as IP line. So that again is an added feature in the strong hybrid variant. This variant also misses out on tire pressure monitoring system, and while not many people are going to tell you this, but this car's sound system itself is not as nice sounding as the top of the line version of the strong hybrid. So the speakers themselves and the sound quality on the top of the line strong hybrid would be a little different from what you will get here, although the number of speakers are the same, and this sound is also tuned by Archimedes. You will also miss out on the ventilated seats feature, which you will get on the higher variant. Finally, while you have a 360-degree camera here, you don't have a head-up display, which you will get again on the strong hybrid variant. So those are all the changes or the features that you won't get. In terms of the best variant that you can get on this car, I think the Zeta variant is the best variant, because apart from the sunroof, you mostly get everything. So if you're looking for value for money, and if you don't want a sunroof, maybe the Zeta variant is the one that you should be going with. One important thing that you need to understand is that while the 1.5 K series engine misses out on a lot of things, it gets all-wheel drive, which the strong hybrid does not. Also, the all-wheel drive system gets hill descent control, which the strong hybrid variant does not. Just to quickly guide you through all the good features that this car comes with, it gets a tilt and telescopic steering wheel. It gets a dual pane panoramic sunroof, which is one of the longest in its class. It gets 6 airbags. It also gets this 9-inch Smart Play Pro Plus infotainment system with the wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, Suzuki Connect, which allows you to remotely start the car, to lock and unlock it, and all the other connected features like geofencing and whatnot. So you are covered there. Automatic AC, auto start stop, auto dimming mirrors, illuminated vanity mirror, sunshades holder, adjustable seat belts, auto start stop, automatic climate control, ESP, cruise control, 360-degree camera, adjustable headrests, a set of very nicely done seats, although I think the foam quality on the Toyota Hyryder on the seats was a little better than this. A sliding armrest with storage. Overall, it's a well-equipped car, except for a few features that the rivals have. And to start off, it doesn't come with the cool glove box. The Seltos has front parking sensors, second row sunshade and an electric driver's seat, while the Creta has an electronic parking brake, electric seat, second row sunshade. But I don't really think those are deal breakers. I think this car has its own highs in the form of the 360-degree camera and the HUD on the higher variants. Let's get to the back seat and see what are the features that we have there and what are the ones that we don't. Good thigh support, good knee room, good leg room, good headroom, good space for a water bottle, rear AC vent with 2 power sockets, and armrest with 2 cup holders, 60-40 split seats, all 3 individual headrests, a 3-point seat belt, ISOFIX child seat mounts, reading lights on both ends, a coat hook on this side, it's not there on the other side though. You also have this little crevice and these seat back pockets, and the contouring, bolstering, the foam density, though I still found it a little better on the Toyota Hyryder, but it still is quite comfortable. Generally a very spacious space, a very comfortable place, and along with the comfy suspension, I think this has to be one of the nicest back seats in any car in this segment. Now let's get to the part where we figure out as to how this engine fares on this specific vehicle. Now we come to the all important aspect of how this 1.5 litre naturally aspirated K series dual jet engine performs on this heavier platform. Well, we have tasted this engine before on the Brezza, as you would know, on the XL6, and the qualities of this engine generally remain unchanged. This is a relaxed engine, has good tractability, has enough torque to propel it at trundling speeds, in higher gears at low speeds, 1000 RPM onwards you have some movement happening. You don't have a pronounced lag because it's naturally aspirated, it's quite refined, it's very fuel efficient for the kind of size of a car that it's propelling. So let's talk about that first. And while on the Brezza it delivers exceptional fuel efficiency where you'll get about 14 to 15 kmpl even in the city, and on an open highway you'll get about 20 to 21 kmpl also if you're not hustling it. This being a heavier platform, wider footprint, and generally a bigger car, the fuel efficiency here in the city is about 13 kmpl, and on the highway you'll get about 18 and a half. So the fuel efficiency as compared to the Brezza is a little less, but in terms of tractability, in terms of its relaxed nature, it is very usable in the city. The gearbox here is short throw. You get it in 5-speed manual format, and you can also get it as a 6-speed AT. Right now we are driving the manual. The throws are reasonably short, they are not too long. The clutch action is light, so even if you are not using the automatic version, should not give you much trouble because, as I mentioned, it's very tractable, it's very refined. And while this gearbox is not the smoothest that I have come across, it's very usable. There is a mild notchiness here. Some Hyundai gearboxes, as I mentioned before, also are slightly smoother, but I have no complaints. This is perfectly usable. It doesn't feel rubbery. All in all, the feeling from behind the steering wheel is somewhat similar to the Brezza in terms of the relaxed, comfy nature of the suspension. You have McPherson struts up front, you have a torsion beam at the rear, and the suspension is set up for a very comfy ride. In fact, we took this car to some really bad surfaces today, took it off the road, and the one thing that I really want to mention is that on really bad surfaces, this thing insulates everything. One of the nicest suspensions. You have 200 mm of ground clearance, means that even on some really bad patches, you don't really have to bother about the belly scraping. So all of that is fantastic. If you're looking for comfort, this car is really going to insulate you from all the rough patches. So comfort wise, no complaints whatsoever. The insulation from the outside world in terms of the ambient noise or even the tire noise is very good. You don't even get to hear much of the suspension noise. It's very nicely done. But the steering here, although it's better than the Brezza, on the Brezza it's almost dead. Here you have a wee bit of life. It's not entirely inert. There is some movement happening. It's not very precise though. The weight could have been better. We have seen better steering wheels, and it's not an involving car. I'll be very honest with you. If you want to hustle this car, it's not meant for that. This car is meant to be driven in a relaxed manner. If you want a sportier drive, you should be looking elsewhere. But for a daily driver, something that you want to be driving through the city with your family comfortably, and something that doesn't need you to be shifting gears too much, and for this size of a car returns very good fuel efficiency, I think this works really well. You have this auto start stop system also here, and the one thing that I noted is that when the system is on, this can be a little bit annoying, and the system has a tendency to cut in even when you don't want it to. It cuts in and the car then stalls. It can get annoying, so that can be a bit of a problem. I think that's a part that probably Maruti Suzuki will have to work on, because it really got to an annoying level at one point in time. So the start-stop system can be perfected a little bit better on this car. You have ESP, you have hill hold, although the hill descent control is only on the AWD. Safety wise, it's pretty well equipped. There is nothing that you want to be complaining about. Comfort wise, I really like it. Overall equipment is good, the visibility is good, and for someone who would be looking at this car, a car that looks nice, ferries him around comfortably, and if your mileage is not too much, the extra few lakhs that you'll spend over the strong hybrid can be saved by buying this car, because for most part this car does its job well, except for when you want instant acceleration, you want that thrust coming in, you want some excitement. That's not something this car will do very well. In terms of its 0 to 100 acceleration time, this car will do its 0 to 100 sprint in a little over 13 seconds, which is a little more than the Brezza. Reasonable but not very exciting. Gear speeds, first gear about 45 kilometers per hour, second gear 86 kilometers per hour, third gear 125 kilometers per hour. In terms of cruising speeds, a little over 2000 rpm for 80 kilometers per hour in the fifth gear, and in the fifth gear, if you're cruising at about 100 kilometers per hour, you'll be at about 3000 rpm in the fifth gear. A very practical, reasonably well appointed car which drives well in terms of tractability. Not a very exciting car, but very comfortable, very spacious, and something which fits the bill for a large percentage of the people who are going to buy a car in this segment. So a very practical, well thought out car. And again, if you want to save some money, not spend those extra few lakhs over the strong hybrid for the extra mileage, if your mileage is low, then you can go with this one. Now the pricing of this car has not been announced yet, and that is a bit of a challenge, because without knowing the price of this car, it would be very difficult for me to recommend this car or not, because the strong hybrid version of this car is extremely fuel efficient. So even if you are looking for something which is value in terms of the amount of money that it saves you, if your mileage is high, you probably should be going with a strong hybrid version. But if you don't use your car that much, then probably this car makes sense, given that it saves you a couple of lakh rupees, because the feature set is almost as good as the strong hybrid version. It's a very comfortable car, and it really checks all the boxes. Comes with peace of mind that Maruti brings along. The brand has the widest network, fetches you very good resale value, and with the petrol powertrain, this car is here to stay for over a decade. So you can just spend your money and rest assured that it will not be taken off the streets no matter where you are driving it. In all, there are 9 colors to choose from: Nexa Blue, Arctic White, Splendid Silver, Grandeur Grey, Chestnut Brown, Opulent Red, and then there are 3 two-tone colors: Arctic White plus Black, Splendid Silver plus Black, and Opulent Red plus Black. And these colors are available only on Zeta Plus, Alpha and Alpha Plus variants only. If, however, you're looking for a sportier drive, more power, then probably you should be looking elsewhere, because this essentially is focused at comfort, efficiency, and value. I really hope that this video was of some use to you. If you like our in-depth videos, do hit that like button, subscribe to Motoroids, and until next time, this is Amit Changani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.